So today, you have a special treat. Jonah's going to take the first part of our chapel, speaking time, and he's going to give his story. So Sarah and Ethan gave their story a couple weeks ago or whatever, but it was during testing, and at the time it was the only open time, so we just had to do it. But God worked it out. We get to have Jonah. We don't have to wait all the way till next semester to hear from him. So I'm super happy that he gets to tell part of his story and his testimony. So give it up for Jonah. Ready to help?
Hi everyone, I'm
Right,
Jonah. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. It's whatever. You'll know me eventually. So before I get to explaining my testimony, I just want to make something clear that sometimes I think gets skipped over. So really, a testimony when you're talking about a Christian, you don't just have one testimony. As Christians, we have multiple testimonies throughout our life. A testimony, in the Christian sense, is really just sharing something that God has done in your life. It could be something as simple as, you know what, I aced a test and didn't study for it, all right? How many of us have been here, all right? Or it could be something like, I went to a park and God used me and saved 15 people. It could be anything. So throughout my life, God has worked and given me many, many testimonies. But I'm going to kind of start at the very beginning because it's a very good place to start. So I was born February 12th, 2004, and I lived in Bourbonnais for 10 years of my life, and we had this pretty big house. It was awesome. And then our backyard was probably a little, like a super tiny less of this gym. Like it was from this door all the way back there about. And we'd go out there and just play all day. But God, he worked in little ways in my life. I didn't become a Christian until I was 10, but I still remember some instances where he used me. And really, I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, oh, someone fell or something. I gotta go help them up. Or someone's like crying. I need to see if they're all right. Like that just came natural to me. So when I was a little kid, all right, I definitely was not a perfect little kid. Sometimes I would be a complete angel, and then other times I would be the devil, you know what I'm saying? So there would be, no joke, there were 2 instances where my parents had to cast demons out of me. That's how bad it was. But yet, there's also good parts, like I shared, where God used me to kind of help people in a way. But ever since I was really little, I don't even remember where I picked this up at, but Satan planted a lie in my head and I completely believed it. Whenever I messed up at something or just something bad happened, I'd go to my room, I'd kind of be alone, I'd cry and say, you know what? Things would just be better if I didn't exist. Things would be better if I just wasn't here. And I completely believe that. I don't know why. As I'm looking back at it, there was no reason why I should think that. But that was in my life since I was, since the first memory I had, that was there. I have no idea why. That's just how it was. So one day, I was just being completely mentally attacked. I had so many questions in my head and things just weren't adding up and my head was spinning and then I was just crying and things were just so confusing and then Like, my mom eventually came in and we talked about it, and then she asked, "Do you want to become a Christian?" Now, I've grown up in the church my whole life. I mean, I've done stuff. Like, I was the kind of kid that I wouldn't volunteer to answer a question in Sunday school, but I would know all the answers. So, that day, I said, yeah, I want to become a Christian. And at first, like, I felt kind of peaceful, but yet, as I look back on it, not a whole lot of things changed. I mean, I didn't have those mental attacks as much, thank God, but I didn't see a giant change. So, then with some other stuff that came up, a year later, my parents sat me and my brothers down and said that we were moving. Now me, I loved our first house. I did not want to move. I was very content there. But yet I didn't feel worried necessarily about moving. I was sad a bit, but I didn't have that fear in me. And I remember, like, my whole life before I became a Christian saying, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to leave. I just want to stay here." Like, that sort of stuff. So God kind of took that fear away from me when we were moving. So then we moved to a smaller house in Bradley, still pretty good place to live. And then we stayed there for about a year and a half, and then some other stuff came up. I just finished 5th grade with Mrs. Margikitis here. That was awesome, by the way. But then they said that we were going to move again with our grandparents that live like 45 minutes away from here, and that we were also homeschooling. Now, I've homeschooled in the past, and I mean, when you're a little kid, you don't necessarily care. You're like, "Oh my gosh, stay home from school, yes." But that's kind of how it was, but yet we were also far away from it, from all my friends at least, and it was just me, my family, and my grandparents in this house. So at first we were supposed to stay there for, 3 months during the summer, but it turned out to be a little over a year and a half. Well, half a year, my bad. So, I mean, great family bonding time, definitely. Like, through that, we became really close. But yet, through that, there comes a thing where, oh my gosh, I need my time away from you guys. So, my mom and my dad and our friend Christy Hathaway, she's in the kitchen. She can probably hear me right now. But they had this plan that we were going to homeschool together and that we were going to live in the same house. And at first I'm like, yay, whoop-de-doo. So once that half a year in our grandma's house kind of passed, we moved in with them. We moved into their basement and we got it kind of done so that it was like a mini house almost, but no privacy whatsoever. Like, my bed was an actual bed, but yet you could also use it as a couch. So my bed was kind of right in the family room area where the TV was and where the kind of table was to eat at, which I didn't necessarily mind, but yet I kind of wanted my own room because I've had my own room in the past. So through that time, God definitely taught me some stuff. Taught me that I can be comfortable and trust in Him wherever I'm at, even though it's hard, and that I don't necessarily need a whole bunch of stuff to fill my life, because we had to get rid of quite a bit of our stuff that I've had for 10 years of my life. We either left it, or had to get rid of it, or put it in our storage shed, which we didn't see for years, and I kind of got over that. I'm like, I don't need a whole lot of stuff. I don't need a whole lot of clothes. I don't need a whole lot of anything, really. Because, like, at the time, I didn't know why. I just felt that, oh, I don't need any of that stuff. So we lived with the Hathaways for 3 years. We became really close with them, and I mean to where the point that the Hathaway kids, you Hathaway kids out there, they are my family and my brothers and sisters. I got you, Corey. Yeah. Uh-huh. Hi, Marissa, wherever you are. Yeah. So, a lot of things happened through that. We started homeschooling, which was good, but yet also kind of bad. I was kind of stuck in the middle. I had everyone younger than me, like 2 years younger than me, and then people 2+ years older than me. So I didn't really have people my age around, and we didn't have a lot of friends near us. Well, my friends near us. So it was kind of a challenge almost, but through that, I believe God used that so that I can reach out to younger kids, as in junior hires, or older kids, as in you high schoolers. And then, of course, the teachers, too. So, through that, God has put many friends in my life that are younger than me, and a lot of friends that are older than me, and a lot of friends that are my age. And throughout, without me going through that, that definitely would not be as easy. So, as we're doing homeschooling, I spend, time with my family. But yet also some time alone, because my dad still had to go to work, my mom worked at a physical therapy place, yet we were still doing homeschooling. And then eventually, all the kids went back to KTA for 5th grade and whatever other grade. So I was kind of home alone for, what was it? Like a good 3 months, I was home alone my 8th grade year. And I'd be given the work, I'd do the work, sometimes not fully, and I just spend a lot of time alone. And sometimes it's good for Christians to spend alone time with God, but it's also really good for Christians to be with each other, because we can't, we are the church. The church is not a building, but it is all of the Christians together. But for me, I was just kind of, at home, on my phone, playing video games, just doing nothing. And then those thoughts started to creep back into my head a little. The thoughts of, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you're not doing anything. Why are you even there? And it wasn't good. But yet I was still at a point where I didn't know necessarily what was going on, but I knew there was something wrong, but didn't know how to fix it. So then I eventually come back to KTA my 8th grade year. Well, the last 3 months of my 8th grade year. And kind of start reconnecting with people, and it was really, really good. And then, through me being here, and me also meeting some people, I started to grow and figure out who I was in God. And, through this time, I was still going to youth group and stuff, which was really good, still learning. I still was being taught the Word and how to be a Christian, but yet not necessarily know 100% to take that when I'm by myself. So over time, I do grow in my faith, and then it was either last year or the year before, every year at our church we go to this big youth camp, which brings a whole bunch of different churches together, and they spend a week. At first it was at like this college campus, which was really, really cool. And then the time I'm talking about was at a campground where the boys had to sleep in these very interesting cabins. And, I mean, it was fun, don't get me wrong, but not fun to sleep. So, the first night, well, we always have service at night. So the first night, not even, like before the speaker actually spoke, they were playing this song that I never heard before, called Reckless Love. You guys probably know that one. And for some reason, unlike before, it just completely hit me. That God loved me, who I thought up until this time that I shouldn't even be here, that He loved me so much that He sent His Son, the thing He loved most, to die for me. And before even the service started, I was in the back and I was worshiping, and I started crying because it just hit me so hard. Because, I mean, I heard that in the past, but that was the first time that I actually fully understood and experienced it. That no matter what I do, no matter how terrible I'm acting, no matter what thoughts go through my head, that God still loves me. And then when it brings in the word reckless love, that it's so reckless. Like for me, sometimes I think logically, I'm like, dude, that doesn't make sense to do that. But yet, when I heard that word reckless, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would He do that? But yet, He loved me so much, and that it was reckless, it was dangerous to do, it wasn't, like to me, to the world, it probably seems like not the smartest thing. But since God is perfect and all-knowing and cannot sin, it was perfect. And that was just the first night. And then, when the speaker spoke and got into his message, it confirmed everything that I thought and prayed about. And ever since then, that's kind of a, in my opinion, funny thing God does. But it definitely ain't over yet. It can only go closer. So, that's kind of a bunch of my testimonies wrapped up into one testimony. But I'm going to touch on how Christians should show our testimonies for a second. As Christians, our testimonies, when we tell people who don't believe, we start planting seeds. And like, they start thinking, how could this happen? Wow, that sounds so cool. I want what you have. That's crazy. But then to other believers, when we tell our testimonies, it's not to be like, God did this into my life and He didn't do it in yours. But it's to encourage other Christians to be like, that's what God did in my life. Isn't that awesome? And He can do something like that in your life too. And that we need to grow together so that He can keep doing it. So, that's kind of what I got today.